And good Tuesday morning to you. It's Jeannie with Take Two, and I hope you're having a fabulous day. I know here in beautiful southeast Alabama, the sun is shining and it's supposed to be 78 degrees. So sorry to all our freezing friends up north and in other parts of the world. Well, I was thinking today about a story that my cousin Paulie told me one time. Now, Paulie, yes, if you're an Italian family from New York, you have a cousin Paulie. It just is like mandatory, just to let you know. Anyway, Paulie was a corrections officer, a cop for the city of New York, and he worked in the Brooklyn House of Detention for Men as well as Rikers Island. So, I mean, he worked the tough houses. And one of the things that he told me one time was that he was on duty, and he'd been working there some years, and he went past one of the cells and he recognized, or he thought he recognized, one of the inmates who was inside of the cell. And he looked and he said, gosh, that guy looks awfully familiar. So he looked on the guy's chart. Turns out that it was somebody he knew from elementary school. And he said, you know what? He said, that guy, I remember him. He was in my class in the 4th grade when he was 9 years old, and he used to knock my books over. He was a real troublemaker. And he said, so I'm not surprised that he's in here. And I thought, oh, how sad. Can you imagine that a 9-year-old little boy was already determined by his peers and by others that he was going to be a troublemaker, that he was going to have a troubled life. And I thought, that is so sad. If only someone had reached out to that young lad and said something to him, some kind of kindness, some kind of directing him in the way that he should go. Paulie was not surprised that this is the way that this young man turned out. Now, they did grow up in a pretty rough area, rough neighborhood. The schools were on overload. I'm sure that the teachers and the counselors and everybody there was probably on overload. So I don't want to put any fault with them. But I do know this. I do know that kind words and reaching out and showing love, maybe even just an arm around the shoulder, maybe one person could have helped lead that young man in the right direction, and he wouldn't have ended up in Rikers Island on his way to prison. And I don't know whatever happened to that young man. I don't know if he became a career criminal. I don't know anything about him. I just know that somebody could have done something about it. And, that's where we're faced with questions like that when we say, gee, why didn't somebody do something? And that somebody is supposed to be me. So I may not agree with the whole concept of it taking a village to raise a child, because I don't know that I would want a village raising my child, but I do know that it takes a community to reach out and love. And having worked so many years in the nonprofit realm, having worked with our local United Way and our food bank and all these other charities and groups that we work with, our church and so on, I do know that sometimes all it takes is just helping lead somebody in the right direction by extending love and extending that arm around the arm around the shoulder, and then just being kind. And so if you see somebody who has a need like that, if you're concerned about it, go through the right channels. Don't just take over and start raising that person, that child. Don't do that. I'm not saying that you should overstep your boundaries. But if you suspect that there's issues at home, or that maybe even there's abuse involved, and maybe the parents are the ones to really blame because they're not taking care of needs in their children's lives, go through the right channels, go through the nonprofits, go through the schools, go through the local church, what have you, and just see if there's a way that you could reach out. Don't leave it up to somebody else to be kind, okay? So I'm going to leave you with this. Be a blessing to somebody today. You might end up being the only one who is. Reach out, show love, and just be good, okay? I love ya. Hey, WRMZ.org on the World Wide Web. Click on that. Go to the listen button. Give a listen to what's going on my radio station. And then please, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeanne, Sigler, Jeanne Sigler. Click on that. There's all my take twos are on there, and you might see something else that entertains you and blesses you. I love you all so much. It's such a blessing for me to be able to do this for you. So you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, okay? I love you.